Pregame.com.
Thursday night baseball action, American League West division battle between the LA Angels and the Texas Rangers. It's a big matchup, Brian. We're taping on Wednesday, so this is a four-game series, and the Angels have grabbed the first two. We won't know, obviously, the Wednesday outcome doing the video today, but is Texas in trouble? Are they pushing the panic button because they're not playing good ball right now? And they made a deadline trade. And when you talk deadline, I mean, I think, you know, it was almost post time whenever this trade went through yesterday for Dempster.
Yeah, I don't think it's a panic situation right now for Texas. They're still in great shape for the wild card, one of the wild cards. So, but it's a team. They played great ball early in the season. Now, you know, what's amazing to me is they're out there looking for starting pitching, which I can see, I guess. But, you know, they've got quality arms in the minors. They've got guys that are starting pitchers that they're putting in the bullpen. I mean, Oswalt just went to the bullpen. Perez they sent to the bullpen earlier, good young pitcher. So they've got a lot of good arms on that team. They've got, you know, Feliz is now out for the season. But Agando's coming back. They're stretching him back out, and he's already proven he's a good pitcher. I think it's a situation. You know, a lot of people right now are talking about the whole Nolan Ryan thing where he's come out and he's pitched these guys a lot of innings. Now they're saying, oh, now they're getting hurt. Yeah. It's a small sample size. Let it play out here.
Well, they did make the trade right at the deadline for Dempster, and this is your pick, and I think we're going to be kind of opposite with just opinions here. I don't have a strong opinion, but let's say I've got concerns about Dempster. I know everybody, he was one of the coveted, you know, pitchers in all of the trade rumors because he had that big, long, scoreless streak, you know, a few weeks back. But his last two starts, he wasn't his normal dominating self. And I think all of this trade, am I getting traded? Am I not getting traded? It was a distraction. Now it's happened. He's gone to a contender. But you're going from, he was scheduled to pitch Tuesday night and literally, you know, yanked off the mound and into a plane and going to Texas. How does he react to having to do that? We saw Zach Greinke earlier this week in a similar situation get traded and then pitch, you know, 2 days later in his new ballpark. Although Greinke pitched well, he lost.
Interesting. The points you made, I think, are good for me. And the reason being, one of the things I'm going to talk about is this is his first start after the trade. First time he's pitched in the American League. He came up with the Marlins, Reds, and Cubs. I was listening to our new radio show. I believe it's called the Early Look
Preview.
Pregame
Preview.
Pregame Preview.
Yeah.
Scott Spreitzer made this reference. He said, I'm looking to go against Dempster his first few starts. I'll look at it a different way. And I'm really surprised that we're going to be going head-to-head a little bit on this because I thought this would be right into your ballpark the way I'm looking at this. I thought, you know, you're comparing his last two starts. Well, he's been on, it's been a month that he was supposed to be traded. And in the month of July, he had a 2.74 ERA. Now, when you're throwing, what did he throw, 33 innings, a shutout ball, whatever it was, you're going to regress a little bit. So 2.74 in the month of July, and I believe he had a 0 ERA in the month of June. So I don't know if he's not pitching well at all. I think he is pitching well. Now, granted, this is the best we've ever seen out of Dempster. He's had a lot of quality strikeout stuff in the past, but this is the best he's ever pitched.
He's not a young guy either.
He's not a young guy. And Scott mentioned on the radio show, what was it? The pregame preview?
Right.
All right. Little plugs right here.
Yeah.
But he had mentioned that in 50 career starts, he had a 4.5 something ERA in the American League. If you follow interleague baseball at all, most pitchers from National League ballparks are going to get hit when they're playing American League teams.
Right.
It's just, there's better hitters in the American League. You don't get to face the pitcher. I mean, we've all gone over this, especially when you're playing in American League parks where you've got a DH, big disadvantage for the National League teams. But this year, against the American League teams, 21 innings, he's got a 1.71 ERA. And off the top of my head, I think he played the Yankees, Boston, and Minnesota. Minnesota's offense, not so good. Yankees, Boston, pretty good. Pretty good. And, you know, I just want to get this out before I forget. A couple things. First off, you mentioned Greinke. Greinke came, he was an American League pitcher, goes to the National League, comes back to the American League. They asked him the difference, and he said the difference is actually a positive. Now, it's a negative because you got to play the tougher hitters. But it's a positive because instead of having to go up there and bat, worrying about, okay, can I get this bunt down? What do I got to do? I'm fifth in line. As this guy gets on, I got to get ready to bat. He says you just sit in the dugout and worry about getting the players out. And I think that's going to help Dempster in that regard. Also, when you take a look at Dempster, in his career against his Angels team, other than Albert Pujols, there's only been 14 career at-bats against Dempster. And many times, we've talked about this, when you bring up a minor league pitcher, they've never seen them.
Right.
So it's an advantage for him. So he is pitching in a park that's not suitable for him, pitching in Texas Ranger Park in the middle of summer, 100 degrees. It may get really ugly in this game. Yeah. But I think overall, he'll pitch very well this game.
Well, I can't say that I disagree with everything that you just said there, because you know I am a big proponent of riding these pitchers the first time around the league, and I love guys when they switch leagues. But I'll be honest, I like it better when it's an American League guy coming to the National League. I just think that their numbers are going to be so much better. I'm more than just the timing of everything and the way this thing went down right at the last. I mean, he literally he had his mindset to be on the mound last night. I mean, he was supposed to pitch against the Pirates, and I was using Pittsburgh whether he was on the mound or not. And I had to actually revise my write-up at the last minute when the trade come through because, you know, it happened so late. And I don't know how you can mentally be focused and be in your normal rhythm. Plus the fact, now he's pushed back 2 days, so he's not going to be pitching on his normal routine, which that's a little bit of a concern to me. A lot of times some pitchers, it's great. You give them an extra day or two, and their fastball's a little more lively, their curveball's a little more. But other guys, sometimes that extra rest, their arm becomes too jacked up, and then they have control problems and location problems. And I just think with the travel, the extra days, this isn't the game for me to jump on Dempster. I think after this first start, same way with Greinke, that he gets into the normal routine, his next start, that's where I want to jump in on Dempster. But I'm on the fence on this one. This is all you, sir, so go ahead. You're going to take the Texas Rangers tomorrow.
I will take the Texas Rangers. A couple other points about Dempster, and you made a good point about the rest with his arm. But we're all competitors. He's a professional. He's a competitor. He wanted to go to the Dodgers. The Cubs fans were getting all over him because it looked like he wasn't going to be traded. Mm-hmm. How many times does a pitcher with an under 2 ERA or close to 2 ERA that does not want to leave unless he goes to a certain team? Is that a bad thing? So he's had the Cubs fans all over him. He had the Atlanta fans all over him because Atlanta was going to trade for him and turned him down. So he's had a lot of pressure on him through this entire thing, and he's still pitched well. I think this is a good thing. He's had all these naysayers saying all these bad things about him. Now he's got to go to the American League and pitch in probably the best hitting park in the American League. I expect him to come out with a good game here. And when you take a look at Wilson, you know, the Angels have dropped 4 of the last 5 starts with Wilson on the season. Interesting stat that I happen to find here. Against the lefties this season, he's tough on lefties. 76% of his pitches to the lefties are fastballs. Only 1% is changeups. He's got a lot of confidence in his fastball against left-handed hitters, and he's had pretty good success against them.
He has. Another thing, you know, for Wilson that, you know, kind of bodes against your play, he's got a road ERA this year of 2.70. I mean, he's been solid. And you know, Wilson is a guy that was on the Rangers last year, so, you know, I always like to look at, you know, guys when they come back to face their old team. And he's had a strange 3 meetings against his former team. The first 2 were in back-to-back days, if you remember what happened.
I had to look that up. I thought it was a misprint because I had forgotten about it.
Getting old.
No, he's no Zach Greinke pitching 3 straight.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't 3 straight. They had the All-Star break. But
it's a situation where he pitched a third of an inning on Friday night. The rains came, and he gave up like 3 or 4 runs in that.
22 pitches.
Yeah, and the rains came, and they didn't bring him back out. It was a pretty lengthy rain delay. They didn't bring him back out, but then he wanted the ball the next day. He started the game, you know, pitched 5 innings and gave up 2 runs in the game, you know, didn't get a decision, but it was a gutsy performance coming back the next night. And then he pitched a third time once in L.A., and he held him scoreless for 5 innings. So he's done okay against his former team. The only thing I don't like about having to make the prediction today with not knowing today's game, this is a 4-game series, and I don't know if you ever do this. with 4-game series as opposed to 3-game series. But if the Angels win tonight and you're looking at them trying to pull off a 4-game road sweep, that's tough to do. So that would make me like Texas a little more tomorrow if somehow they lost tonight. You know, they were trying to avoid being swept. There's just something mentally about the 4-game sweep as opposed to the 3-game sweep.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers on that. I know Ed Meyer with his programming, he's got on the website at pregame.com where you can search for that. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's something you have to take into account. And, you know, this, even though it was for, what was it, 2/3 of an inning or whatever, this is the 4th time now that he's faced his other team, or it's the first time 90% of the line, 88% of the lineup will be facing him. So it's to me, it's a pretty good big advantage for Dempster there. And I think a lot of people are going to look at that and say, look at the situation that you mentioned, and it's got a lot of legitimacy to it. I just think as a professional, he'll come out and pitch well. We may see another 2-0 game like Greinke in this ballpark. I doubt it, but it's a situation I think we can get some value.
All right, Brian says to take the Texas Rangers and their brand new pitcher, Ryan Dempster. I'm on the fence on this one, but I'll be back here. We're going to do Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Battle for the Central in the National League. Yeah, I said Pittsburgh Pirates, battle for the Central. I'm going to like talking about that one. This one's up next on pregame.tv.